Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
I hope you're all doing great. Yeah, we have some members of the public in. That's really awesome. We have 33 people joining us at the beginning. Hopefully, they will climb and we'll have over 100, maybe 200 people joining us in this live stream. Very interesting topic that we have for today.
Isn't it always though?
Yeah, I suppose it's always interesting. But I really want to thank you just for spending time with us. I know life is extremely busy and yeah, there's many other things that you could be doing. So I just want to express my appreciation for you choosing to spend time with us, with this community, and yeah, I'm sure that it's going to be extremely rewarding for you and your family and your loved ones in future.
Hi, Jordan. Someone from the public. And Ryan. Hi and
Yeah,
welcome.
Ryan Fulton. It's not that the members aren't welcome. Yeah, of course, you're welcome.
We're just
Anna
highlighting public
Marie,
people.
yes. That's also TK has been regularly attending. That's awesome. Lana, good evening. We really want you to tell other people about this. I put out a video this morning. Hardly anyone watched it.
What did you?
Yeah, to say that people are over the pandemic, the fact that it actually happened. And it shows.
It's a
So I had
distant
this
memory.
picture, I had this picture of this guy being literally debrained with this swab up his
Oh, that's
oh
awful.
yeah, which I suppose
Mm,
would put off many people in any
it
case.
did.
But it just shows that people are over it. The thing is, the people that used it to control, they're not over it.
Mm-mm.
Their brains are still scrambling. They are still thinking heavily. How can we use the same thing next or something
Mm-hmm.
different next? These people really buckle to the pressure. What can we do to them next?
And that's what we'll be talking about.
Oh yeah,
We found
absolutely.
an absolute gold YouTube channel yesterday. If you're interested, we jumped from 30 to 120 quickly.
120 people.
Yeah, I thought
Welcome
I
to
had to
all of you.
waffle. But anyway, there's this dude who takes clips from the internet. So you'll take like Indian music, culturally Indian music, or you'll take Karens going off, and then he'll play heavy metal. He'll play
On a
guitar,
guitar,
and it
yeah.
just works so beautifully. I need to find it and share the link for those who want some entertainment.
Test driving, yes, Lana. It's a very good way to put it.
That's a good way.
That's actually what my dad said. He said that it would be a test, that COVID would just be a test to see how people respond, because never before had the entire world been impacted by something that global elites orchestrated. So a lot of people would say, but no, how can you say that it was orchestrated? Oh goodness. If you have to go back on this channel and look at the absolute train of information around that, there's one thing for sure. My father was right. As much as I despised all the things he said, he was spot on with regards to this. I hate the fact that that is the case, but yes. So these very same people are up to no good as usual. I mean, they will use anything they can find, whether it's the climate, whether it is the threat of nuclear war, whether it is just war itself, chaos, crumbling infrastructure, dirty bombs, anything they will use. A global catastrophe, aliens. I mean, you can name it. Uh, these people will come up with anything that they can use to freak us out and take us absolutely to the last of our tether. And you
Yeah.
have found that the man that can play the
I am.
tethers
I'm
on
actually
the
laughing
guitar
about the
string.
aliens thing more than anything else. I mean, that's an interesting way to divide people.
Yeah,
Which was delightful. And this week we're doing the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a very important part of deep history, ancient history.
yeah. So things that people will find interesting. Yeah, we don't pick sides. We basically just go through the history of things, and then people try to make sense of it. Hi, Lorraine, Graham, St. Jones. Welcome to all of you. It's really wonderful. We have 150 people watching now. And we're talking about the plans that global elites, or maybe we should say people that belong to organizations that are even openly speaking to us now and telling us what their plans are, how they will achieve those plans, and talking about what will be concocted next. Um, yeah, and sadly, as we said when we started, now a lot of people have literally forgotten what happened to us. And a lot of people said, no, it'll never happen. I remember 2 weeks before the level 5 lockdown happened,
What happened?
people saying that we won't get locked down. At that stage, Kuwait Nuclear Power Station was locked down already. So national key points, they'd already taken action. Okay. So I knew that something was up. And we bought toilet paper and we bought water and many other things at the time because I knew there would be a massive run on the shops, which happened. The president actually had to speak about it because that is how people attack toilet paper first. I mean, that's the first thing people don't want to lose is the ability to wipe their butts with toilet paper.
Oh, word.
People freaked out.
I should have
You
shared
remember
that.
the passages filled with stacked with toilet paper where you walk into the shop. It's like a
And
line.
water. It was sort of
And
happened in
water
water.
as well. Yeah. So this is how people respond. Yeah, Jacques. Hello, Earthlings. That's awesome.
But more long term, I mean, toilet, you can only buy finite amounts of toilet paper. Rather plant some non-thorny.
No, let's not go there tonight. We're talking about what these idiots can concoct. Because a lot of people probably think that that's one thing and there might be something similar happening in future, and that's a huge possibility. So they can just come up with something worse. And have they prepped for something worse? Have we got things worse than what happened during the so-called COVID-19 pandemic? Absolutely. So I've spoken about this Project Coast, what we developed here in South Africa. We have endless evidence for it. During the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, I've put out videos on this channel that spoke at length about Waterbason and the program that they ran. Many countries that they work with that wanted the research. America is one of the countries that always let other people do the dirty work for them, hey?
Mm,
And then they give people immunity and they buy all the research.
indeed, they do.
Typical. So the technology is available. The technology is available to wipe out most of the world's population like in a very short space of time. I just don't know what you're gonna do with all the bodies.
Hmm. Hmm. Why are you looking at me?
That's quite a problem,
I
isn't it?
prefer to, I don't know, stay away
So
from that idea of population depletion.
so I believe that that has become a huge distraction to many people because the things that will actually happen are far simpler, easier to implement. And not that that isn't easy to implement. I mean, if you use the right pathogens, you can do it chop chop if you want to. But I think before that, people will be tested with various things in various places around the world. In other words, there will be, like in Afrikaans, you would say a steekproef. There will be a test trial in various places in the world of various things. So you're going to have numerous different things happening. And so I would suggest you look at what's happening around the world and you might find some interesting things going down, interesting threats, interesting things that happen to people in areas. Um, yeah, like in Australia, there's some interesting things happening again.
What? I haven't been looking at Australian
Maybe
news.
you should, and then you'll see. So, what do you think are the main things that these global elites can concoct? What jumps to your mind first?
Aliens.
Aliens. Okay, so aliens is one. Now, for those of the people that think that aliens is a small thing or just a distraction, which a lot of it is extremely powerful. It's a very powerful tool. When governments come out and give information, whatever it might be, show no evidence for it, and expect people to just believe it, like during the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, people couldn't see what they called the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Okay, you just had to believe the scientists. So imagine they come out and they tell us something with regards to aliens, and there could be an alien threat of some kind. How easy would it be for people to lock down in their homes
Well, it's the same old tactic.
or be controlled?
Earth's population needs a common enemy to unite behind a one world government. All of a sudden, there's threat of intergalactic war, and
Okay,
now people
so
beg for this one
so
world
so I
government.
believe that the that big tool being used will come later. There's testers going out now in many different ways to see how people respond. Many testers going out with regards to the whole alien threat. And you will see, interestingly enough, that governments and media agencies will play into all the different narratives that people might like. They'll give you everything. The aliens come from inside the earth. The aliens come from a different dimension. The aliens come from somewhere in the universe, somewhere in our galaxy, out of Table Mountain, Antarctica. I mean, take your pick. You will find it all. Whatever you prefer, they will give you. And then they'll unite all the useful idiots that believe this one thing in one corner and other useful idiots that believes another thing in another corner. So that's aliens. What else comes to mind?
Well, biochemical warfare is concerning.
Okay. I think that's a very powerful tool because the fear that's been created, especially with the First and Second World War and other wars like in Vietnam, where chemicals and biological agents were used. So only with the forming of the United Nations and their benevolence did they say that you're not allowed to use these things anymore. What a load of rubbish! I mean, that there's an organization that say you can use bullets, but you can't use that. I mean, have you ever heard such tripe in your life? Who the heck cares about that? I mean, if you want to annihilate someone else, most people do whatever they need to.
Pestilence.
Okay, so
Where have I heard that word recently?
there's
No, it's a joke.
okay, pestilence.
Can't remember.
I believe the concept of pestilence will come back. It won't be what people think it is. So pestilence is something that comes from people think the dark ages, right? The interesting thing is it's in very modern literature, the whole concept of pestilence. And it is normally associated with rats, cockroaches, etc. But think of the power of people saying that some pest has broken out somewhere. How powerful that is. Would you leave your house if they tell you that for instance, in Cape Town, that the pest has broken out in the metro, some pest that kills people, and so many people have died? What would you do? Um, and if it's real, I would suggest you do not leave your house. But that's just me. You're free to do what you want. Um, so there's many things that can be done. I remember recently someone said there's about 100 people on the planet that has the tools and ability to wipe out all of humanity.
Zombie apocalypse is full. And
Okay,
that's not
zombie.
so
No,
far
no,
off.
no, no. That is a serious consideration if you look at the fucking twackery going on these days. I think it's absolutely possible.
With
A
certain
zombie
drugs, it's
apocalypse.
absolutely possible. I think also, so this is one where I feel torn. Air pollution. Can't
Yeah.
leave your house. Air pollution.
Yep.
I mean, we went obviously walking our new addition, not that new anymore, but our puppy. He's not a puppy, but I call him a puppy. Early in the morning before we
He
started.
sits on your lap. I mean, he's huge.
It's my baby. Anyway, we went to the dog park and the pollution smelled horrible. And I want to know, what are we going to do about this without infringing on the rights of individuals? I am frustrated because I don't want to live in a metro anymore because of pollution, not because of crime, not because of bad service delivery or anything like that, but because of pollution is the reason I don't want to live here anymore. And what are we going to do collectively as a society to make sure that we can step outside and breathe clean, fresh air? I don't know. But that can be used. Don't go out today. The air quality is low. You might not know that the air quality is good or bad because you're inside, but it can be used as a tool to keep you inside and control your behavior.
Absolutely. So you mentioned pest, you mentioned biological and chemical warfare. So chemicals is the pollution that we create ourselves. I mean, and that can be a real threat. But people can be locked down in their homes. I know in China that has happened to many people. Your freedom's being removed because of pollution, and it gets really bad for real. So it's really something we need to do something about.
Oh, what about food shortages as an absolute real threat in the sense that supply runs dry?
Jacques, when the current government in the current system, and this is you wanted to speak about this tonight.
Later,
Just
yes,
yeah.
just jump the gun a little.
Um, when they tell you that you are supposed to stay in your home, they're allowed to make regulation like that based on our flawed constitution. And this is one of the greatest flaws, Jacques, in our constitution, is the fact that our constitution gives you all of these rights that sound wonderful. A lot of them are pie in the sky, but you get all these rights. And a couple of paragraphs later, what happens? I mean, the minister is given rights to take all your rights away if it is to protect your life. So if the minister believes that your life is under threat, like it might be in that instance, they are allowed to take your freedom away. They can make the decision. In our constitution, they have the power to do that. So they absolutely had the right under our constitution to believe that they're protecting our lives and take our freedom away. So our constitution needs to change. It's the first thing you need to understand. The second thing you need to understand is that you then need to prove that that minister is wrong about the fact that they believe that your life is under threat. And to prove that in a concord is extremely difficult because the judges are always going to side on the side, err on the side of being conservative, saving people's lives. And they're going to say, well, if the minister is wrong, so be it, but at least they saved your life. So the Constitution sees saving your life as above that of you having freedom.
I'm
There's your nose
allergic to
okay.
something in this
Yeah,
room.
I know. I saw your eyes. So this is a situation we find ourselves in. And this ties in.
I
Laurie
want to
will
take
speak
it
about it
further, although
later.
we're going to speak about this later.
222,
Oh,
triple two.
cool. That's
Welcome to the over
amazing.
200 people watching. It's
Jacques
really
says,
amazing.
I'm not a child that needs to be protected. Government will
I
say,
agree,
fine.
Jacques.
Government will say, fine, but we need to protect you from other people.
Yeah,
We need to protect other people from you. That's
other
what they'll
people from
say.
you. And this is what they said all the time, that you need to play the game to protect other people. So this is a narrative they drove in the media, on the radio. I mean, all the DJs were just like in lockstep with this whole lot.
Every single one.
It was actually shocking.
Mm.
And the few that I think
It's like
saw this
hearing a
is,
bunch of sheep buying.
yeah. A lot of you might have seen these YouTube videos where they actually take lots of different TV stations and play them at the same time, saying exactly the same thing, the same script.
So much for freedom and
Yeah,
it's so sickening. But yeah, so the thing is the pandemic. I don't know, what am I gonna say that's gonna prevent a little ticket from popping up? The pandemic that we experienced just allowed the world to see which countries are most in line with the UN's agenda and which ones still need to catch up. And in times of crisis, whether the crisis is fake or real, how dependent one's government is and how entrenched the government is on the UN and international relations will determine to what degree the citizens are free or enslaved.
yeah, Jacques, you're right. It is a global problem. And I do want to touch on something just now, once we've covered more real threats that they could be conjuring up, because it's important for people to know this. So please, one way you can help us to get more people to watch this video is to like it, okay? If you like the video, it's really gonna help the algorithms to show it to more people so that people watch this, because this is important information. Um, let's look at some of the other threats that could be concocted. And you'll see with the whole Israel or Middle East situation that the nuclear threat idea has come to the fore again. I actually did a live stream about a year ago about that threat and how it can be used to lock people down quite easily. Not just the threat of a nuclear weapon itself, but the threat of a dirty bomb. In other words, bombs that have fissile material in it, anything that's radioactive. So you don't need a nuclear weapon at all. You can use normal conventional explosives that you can make in your backyard and attach, for instance, an isotope to it, like what went missing in PE was stolen from a vehicle.
Yeah, it was
You know
disastrous.
that can contaminate a vast area, and it might not kill a whole lot of people, especially if it's blown up, but will contaminate a massive area. A lot of people will be contaminated if something like that is exploded in a shopping center, for instance. They might not all die, but some of them might end up getting cancer from a tiny little thing.
It's terrible.
So threats like that, if things like that happens, people will not go out their homes.
Well, Klaus Schwab's advisor, Yuval Noah Harari, rates that one of the three major threats to our future is nuclear war.
Yeah.
Digital democracies are also one of the major threats, according to him. What was the third one? I can't remember. I'll have to look.
So after the nuclear side of things, I just needed to make it
Oh,
clear it's not just
sorry.
nuclear bombs. Yeah,
He says it's climate change.
climate
obviously.
change.
So
Yeah.
climate change, nuclear war, and digital democracy,
Okay.
digital dictatorship are the biggest threats in his mind, and he's the advisor to the leading mind that's directing where we're going right now.
Who is a member of the committee of 300, and he is one of the main drivers
Yes.
for most of the agendas, and it's done publicly in an open forum. The World Economic Forum don't sit behind closed doors. They actually broadcast what they think to the public. All you need to do is go and listen and shudder, because that's your freedom gone. And the thing is, most political parties sitting in government right now will clap their hands at what these people are saying. You just need to ask the questions. This is the problem. A lot of people don't ask the questions. They listen to many politicians saying what they want to hear. They don't ask the important questions around freedom, because these people take your freedom away without thinking twice, without even blinking. There's one more thing, a threat that will be used, and that is AI. So here's and I include with that cybersecurity,
more?
cyber.
There's like 100 different things I was going to pull out of my pockets here.
Okay, one more big one um, is AI and cybersecurity, and with that comes a whole host, plethora of problems.
Oh, yeah.
The threat of not having internet, the threat of not being able to bank.
Didn't we discuss it last week? Was it last week?
No, yeah, well, we just touched on it, yes. And that I'm talking, not saying that it is a threat. I do believe it's a threat, yes. But that's not what I'm saying. Them using it as a threat. As a threat. Okay, so using it as a weapon. And we know that the founder, I don't know if all of you know, the founder of OpenAI was fired by the board. Sam Altman was fired. And now he's gone to work for a special project team at Microsoft. Help us. Remember that Microsoft software engineer that said we have to stop? We've created a sentient, was it Google? Okay. A sentient AI. So Altman's now working for Microsoft, or is it Google?
He's working for
Just check.
Microsoft.
Is it
Microsoft.
Microsoft? Okay. Working on AI, and the question is, Elon Musk said we need to ask this guy why he was fired. We need to tell the public. The public needs to know. Here's the problem. The very people that are creating AI is also warning us. Why are they doing this? Do you understand? It's creating fear of something, and it's in the public domain.
Yeah.
I don't see that as by accident. I see that as deliberate.
Yeah, so we end up saying, Supreme Leader, help us.
Well, that's definitely a threat that can be used by the global elites to say AI has gone rogue, people. Your car might malfunction while driving or whatever.
On a micro scale, not talking globally, although it can be globally impactful, is using technology to discredit good politicians and promote bad politicians while democracy still matters.
Imagine AI just hacking accounts, messing social media up, like a massive hack. on people's lives.
Yeah.
Just turning everything upside
I
down.
was actually wondering, I know there's quite a lot of OWN members on here. If you got an out of character email from me, would you actually think, wait a minute, this sounds sketchy? Because I've been working with admin lately this week, and I was just thinking of all the possibilities with regards to impersonation and deep fakes and hacking and all the rest.
Yeah.
Scary what's out there and what's possible. I don't want to give specific ideas yet to people out there, but it's scary what can happen.
I'm worried that you have hundreds of ideas.
Oh, I was serious.
Yes.
We really need people to question everything that you come across, even this video. Look for anomalies. I think something that makes humans so special, I'm not sure if AI can do this, maybe it can, but picking up patterns and picking up anomalies, it's a very special characteristic that if you're in tune, you can use to your advantage.
Yeah, I think one of the most powerful things that will be used against people is religion. Because I'm sure we have a lot of very religious people in the stream, and yet religion will be used to undo most people. And that was always the aim. The aim was to create religions, because all religions are man-made, okay? All of them. It doesn't matter who you believe in, the religious part is man-made. So those man-made religions can be used to control people in ways you can't even imagine. That's been planned a long time ago. And yeah, Thursday nights we'll be talking about that. I think it's important that people are just aware. Don't be controlled by your religious beliefs. That's the only tip I can give you. You don't need an intermediary to whoever you worship or believe in. No one needs to be your intercessor. You don't need a string of beads. You don't need a person at all. No.
Well, some people might beg to differ.
That's fine. That's what I believe. So, I mean, we are both Christians, okay? There's a reason why we believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. And a lot of people might not agree with us, and that's fine. It's not about you right or I'm wrong. It's a choice of following certain teachings. Most of Christianity and what the Christian religion professes to believe is the biggest load of rubbish, in my mind, just to give you an understanding of how far removed I feel from religion, and how toxic it can be.
Yeah, there's something, and this is a divisive issue, an issue of contention, and you'll see it during election years. And I've seen it with my interactions on social media, with the pages I run. People get confused between being free to have the freedom to practice whatever you want, freedom of association, and then taking their freedom to be Christian, I'll use that as an example, and then making every law in South Africa Christian. Like stone an adulterous woman. Ridiculous. So if you want freedom to be Christian, you need to then respect people's freedom not to be Christian.
Absolutely.
For you to have the freedom to be Christian, as an example. And just guard against your bias. When I started OWN and designed the plan to pave a new way forward for South Africa, I was emotionally mature enough to put my spiritual beliefs aside to create something for all South Africans, whether they believe in a different God or worship something different, or they're atheists. It doesn't matter. We all live in this country. We all here. We all exist. We need to move forward together. So I'm not sure if anyone still feels that I'm a Christian, therefore I need to implement these laws in government one day. It doesn't work that way. It's
an error trap.
It is. It's
a
dictatorship yet
trap.
again. That's when the oppressed become the oppressors. We need to focus on freedom and humanity.
It's not what Jesus taught. Okay,
well.
let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not a religious discussion. We're looking at how religion can be used as a tool Definitely. Yeah, you are far
I
back,
have a very new chair. No, it's a very old chair.
but you are too far back, and you're leaning back in the chair too.
Okay. It's a non-swivel chair. I don't know if anyone's noticed.
I need to make Lauren a footstool because she
I'm
wants to put
so
her feet up.
stationary.
Does it feel horrible?
I got my boys to
Lauren
bring
can't
this.
swivel now.
I got my boys to bring this chair
I
in.
can, but I don't.
It's not fair. Bragging in front of me. And then Joshua was like, at least you can't swivel now. And then he said he'd actually like to watch someone swiveling.
Who?
Joshua, because it's boring to watch someone stand still. But that's a 14-year-old. Their brains are different.
Yeah.
But yes, I see that elections coming up, and that is a relevant thought because we get divided on solutions
Mm-hmm.
because of personal bias, literally.
Can we bring that mic as close to you as possible? There we go. Okay, so it's facing in your direction.
It is. The difficulty is that not everyone is at the frequency to live in that kind of society. What, a free society? There's still laws in a free society. There's still government and consequences.
It's just in the society being created now, you won't even have the freedom to do something wrong. That's the thing. I mean, I today almost had a truck crash into me. I was so grateful that the guy in front of me, firstly, that it was a dude because he watches his rearview mirrors, unlike most females out there. And I will say that in a blanket statement.
What is that again? Just repeat that person.
There was a dude in front of me, a guy. Okay. Both of us were watching our rearview mirror. This truck came over to the lane. We could see it wasn't going to stop in time. Both of us in tandem drove to the side to give it space, like really fast.
Okay.
And it slammed on its brakes. I mean, this guy was driving like a maniac.
Wow.
And then he said sorry, and then he went past us, past Tiger Valley, like a maniac around the corner, almost on two wheels, with this huge truck. He was obviously late to get back to depot. But yeah, people being able to think and do something in unison together without having direct communication, just looking at a situation and coming up with the best solution. That's what happened there.
United by common sense.
Yes, that's something that's sorely lacking. Unfortunately, I know very few people that are religious that have common sense. There are some.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I would beg to differ. I think
that's my experience.
You're very much thinking of. I think if you look across religions, that will change, in my opinion.
Probably.
We can have this discussion and debate on Thursday. So thank you, Dr. Zane, for sharing that. I wish common sense was common. I also wish common sense was common.
Yeah. Well, it's really awesome. We've had over 250 people watching. It's really stunning. We've been going now for half an hour. So give us some of the other ideas. Plandemics. It could be any demic. It doesn't have to be a virus or the pest or the plague
Food shortages,
or anything.
like an actual crop.
Okay.
Like
So crop problems.
Yes.
Can you imagine
Are there cables
people starting? No, there's no cables. People starting to do things to actually destabilize crops. And no, people, harp cannot cause hailstorms on the other side of the world. I kid you not. I will sit with you in a Zoom meeting with every person that believes that harp can cause earthquakes and stuff. And I will spend time scientifically explaining to you why it's not possible.
The religion of misinformation, of false information.
Yeah. It's just a lack of knowledge, really. So I don't blame people for falling into that narrative. I do believe we need to move beyond that. Especially if you know someone that's got the knowledge. I have the knowledge on that, so I can give it to you. I've spoken to people that have been at HARP, that have worked there. There's people working there right now from a university where kids do experiments. No one is doing crazy, weird things. The same with a neutrino detector under the ice. people, the thing that is not a transmitter, it's not causing the earthquake in Christchurch. The guy's a nutcase. The people that say that in these interviews that get sent everywhere, these people need attention. They are crazy, insane. And the thing is, when we give information based on our past experience, um, for people to use, and there seems to be a real conspiracy, for instance, with what happened with the COVID pandemic, that people conspire to do certain things in many different levels of the pandemic. Then these nutcases, they really hurt our case. They really hurt what we are trying to do, because it's so easy for someone else to call us exactly the same when I'm
And
far
then
from
lose
it.
all credibility. It's a very annoying.
And CERN is just a place that accelerates particles in a circle, in a magnet. That's it. That's it. There's nothing more to it.
Okay, so
We have
there's
our own little CERN here in South Africa.
supply issues with food is the next one. So you can have crops suffering and supply issues.
You know, we're sitting with a massive container problem off the port of Durban Harbour, where containers are not being offloaded. Thousands and thousands. So supply issues, certainly. Um, to me, a big thing is something that's being deliberately orchestrated, and it takes time. But there is water infrastructure just not being fixed.
Yeah.
When I went on tour, I told people government will not fix the water infrastructure. It is supposed to just collapse to get us on our knees, literally on our knees. I mean, if you don't have water to drink, and the government brings you a tanker with water, and they say put a chip into your hand and then you can scan and get your cup of water. You're going to get people chipped like you can't believe. I'm just using one
You're
dumb
also going to
example.
get the officials absolutely hijacked.
Yeah, before that happens.
Okay, yeah, so infrastructure collapsing. I mean, I think we've spoken that topic to death in the past,
Yeah.
infrastructure collapse. But that is one.
Mhm.
So certain countries will just absolute collapse infrastructure-wise. Can possibly.
You need to look at the places where infrastructure is not collapsing and be worried about those, because the world elites wants those areas to remain intact for a reason.
I love this. Wisdom chases all people. Some just run faster.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's so much to read into that.
Okay, other what?
Yeah, I agree. A deliberate plan to stop petrochemicals. Well, that's an open plan. I mean, people are telling us that. I do think that we need to drive less. I mean, especially in metros. Goodness gracious. In so many metros, we have so much smoke from car exhaust. It becomes a real problem. It's not a fake problem. You can see it.
Smell it.
Yeah, and smell it. So we need proper infrastructure. We need to use trains that use electricity, because the power is generated elsewhere. The pollution is elsewhere. It's in a concentrated place where people are not supposed to live. That's the whole point of coal-fired power stations. You're not supposed to live next to it and inhale the rubbish. I mean, that was not the point.
Economically, there's many ways we can be cornered, and everything can culminate into people becoming absolutely destitute.
Well, the banking system. Imagine they tell you you need to give all your details. Like now, you have to say where your money is coming from, how much money you expect to earn to keep your bank account open. It's already headed there rapidly.
So I don't know how many of you in this chat has a bank app, bank on the phone or on the internet, but if you do,
No, they actually said that your app would stop working.
Yeah.
Your card would stop working. Your whole account would stop working if you don't
So
update.
you're quite deeply in that system already, that number of the beast system, people like to call it. Yes, shutting down of communication, not being able to use the internet. Or reasons for not being able. So not
Yeah.
necessarily the system, you're not plugged into the system with your chip or whatever, but it can be issues with power or internet itself. I think people will absolutely panic. We've become so reliant on WhatsApp and Messenger and all the rest. We, I mean humanity. I mean like South Africa.
Yeah,
And
if you're not on
Twitter,
WhatsApp, you cease to exist.
yeah.
I remember when I went off WhatsApp, it's like,
Who are you?
yes, it was an instant, massive change in
Yeah.
people's interest in what we had to say. And I just couldn't cope with the nonsense
Yeah.
anymore.
You're getting hundreds of messages.
Oh,
Shame.
Lauren, when I shut it down, I had over 60,000 messages. That's how insane it was. Unread.
Mm.
Over 60,000. I mean, that's not humane. It's not humanly possible for me to deal with that.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah.
Healthcare will be out of reach for the average person or non-compliant, and that is a problem, especially if like
Yeah.
appendix burst or something. If you have some emergency and you have to go to the doctor now.
What? The IEC asking for your mobile number? That has nothing to do with it.
Maybe to go on the database to be reminded about elections and all the rest. Did they ask or did they demand?
Yeah, just tell us, JD, if if that was optional or not. That's quite worrying. There's people absolutely pushing for us to do electronic voting now. Like you cannot
That's
believe.
crazy.
Moaning and bitching for us to get electronic voting.
I think that just like with Leave Our Kids Alone, we'll have enough people saying no.
I don't know.
Unless people are that fatigued from the pandemic that they have nothing in them left. Well done, Ruth, on your kilograms of wheat, like the size of a big
Yeah.
baby. Yes, Colin Starling, I'd incorporate that into the biochemical warfare department.
Well, we had huge problems now with livestock, with chickens. So it's not just the laying of eggs. I mean, it's many things affected by it. So yeah.
A lot of interesting one. Antidepressants worldwide given to children. It's poison. That is actually true. Wow, I didn't really think about how
Okay.
much of a problem it is that so many people are medicated.
Yeah, JD, to me, they should have said, do you want to give us your number? And this is what we'll use it for. To give you a reminder to come and vote or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that would be very different to just saying your number.
Did they
That's
stop you from registering without your number? That would be interesting to know. Because you just need your ID book and your address.
yeah, Lorraine, with all bank accounts now, you have a biometric facial picture.
And that's what we were talking about last week, boiling the frog. It's slow, little by little, incrementally. Today it's your face, tomorrow it's something else. Before you know it, you're so entrenched in the system, you can't escape your little 15-minute smart city bubble.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you can't grow carrots in your garden because it's not allowed. And you can't have pets anymore because they're farts, you know? You can't eat meat anymore.
So I think a combination of all of these things we've spoken of now will be used around the world.
Little bits here and
Yes.
there, everywhere.
So you'll see little bits being tested around the world, especially in the build up to 2030. And if you didn't watch last week's live, and we had a record number of people watch that, which we're really grateful for. And hopefully that'll happen again. If all the people watching now like this video, it'll certainly help for more people to watch it later, the recording. But if you go and watch that, you will see what has already been put in place. So I believe there will be numerous things happening around the world, is already happening around the world. And remember that massive push to get things done by 2028 in a certain amount of countries? The first 11 countries have signed up. There's 50 more countries that they want
50 countries in 5 years.
in 5 years.
So people, we need to be ungovernable.
So we need to really get started. I'm going to hand over to you now to speak about the system change. I think that's super important that people know that in these elections in 2024, for the first time, you'll be able to vote to change the system. For the first time ever.
Yeah. There's so many comments just came in. Okay, so a few people said that the IC wanted their phone number.
Wow. But you could still register, right?
And they used one of their numbers. That's interesting.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh my word.
T-Man's also raising an interesting thing. I want to talk about this. In fact,
Okay.
let's talk about it next week, Tuesday, please. The fact that boys are now in girl teams and saying disgusting things. I really want to talk about it.
Yes, T-Man, and hi, T-Man.
Hi.
That is a very big issue.
There's many things that are religions. Okay.
Yeah.
That because to me religions are man-made. Believing in something, having faith in something has nothing to do with religion. Religion dictates things, and you will see how it's crafted by man. I mean, people might disagree with me, but I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary, really. So you can be a highly spiritual person, a highly spiritual person, a highly faithful person, without being a religious person.
Also, I mean, I think
And you can believe in Jesus, or you can believe in Muhammad, or
Doesn't
whatever you
matter.
want. It doesn't matter. Without religion controlling you, telling you how to live your life, any of those things.
They have been emasculating boys for some generations. It's true, Ruth. Sure. I'm so glad that I've kind of shielded my boys from that in a sense. They're empowered, you know.
You have boys with deep voices behaving like boys in girls' teams now.
Ah,
What did the
in
guy? I will just tell you.
girls' changing
Yeah,
room.
in girls' changing rooms, and the girls are
Horrible.
cheering with them.
A
It's just a
disaster.
perverted lot.
It
That's what it
is.
looks like. I mean, there's one guy, I don't know who of you saw this, said to the girls in the other team, "Did my penis distract you?"
Hmm.
I mean, that's what he said to them afterwards. Because they won the game. He smashed the girl's facing. I mean, it's despicable, but we can talk about that next week. I think it's important that we
Let's
tackle
talk
this
about it
topic.
next week.
I'm not afraid to tackle this. Let the DA attack us. It's fine.
Some churches say you should give them 10% of your income. Some churches say a lot more.
A lot more.
So that's actually true. The thing is, I've noticed. So there's two different types of religious people in the world. Those who are born into a religion and stayed religious and walked that path, and those that were atheists and then became religious like me. So what I
Yeah.
noticed, and especially like with our conversations over the years, when you're born into that culture, you automatically believe for some reason that you must also obey the government. Huh? I don't know. I missed that scripture somewhere.
But this is implied through religious culture.
But that's
And
when
this
I
is where
stop
the
and
danger
ask.
comes in.
Yeah, but like the render unto Caesar what Caesar's, I asked who actually wrote that and what was the intention and how
Yeah.
was it translated? Because I don't believe if you are truly a spiritual person following a spiritual path, you should be in direct opposition to the government in theory. That's
Mm.
my theory at least. But we have this culture that the census that came out, 85% of South Africans are actually Christian, or voters, sorry. Was it voters or South Africans?
No, South
Africans
Africans in the
are
census
Christian specifically.
consider themselves Christian.
Whether they go to church or not, I don't know,
Is
but consider
irrelevant,
themselves
yeah.
Christian.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that means 85% of South Africans are blindly obedient to any authority, whether it's a clergyman or whether it's a politician.
That's what I was taught.
Obey your masters.
Growing up as a Christian boy, I was taught to obey the teachers in school, obey the dominee, obey the doctor, obey the dentist. Anyone with a degree you had to obey. It was actually fascinating the mindset. The worker class needed to obey anyone that went to a tertiary institution.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
Tyranny in its worst form.
yeah,
So, system change. Where are we? We
yeah.
are
50 minutes
Yeah,
already.
we want to cut under
Yeah,
an
so
hour.
now you
So,
need to go for it.
where do we begin? We want to implement system change. I know a lot of you are members, so you already know the message. But for those that are absolutely new, we want to basically build a new nation while still operating in this current system. So we recognize that we don't have democracy. There is no democracy in the entire world. And nowhere. None of these Western European countries, none of these Western imperialist countries, none of them, none of these first world countries are truly democratic. Democracy is being used way too loosely. So we want to implement the closest thing to real democracy, which isn't perfect. There's no perfect democratic system out there, but we can get pretty close. And we want to create a society that is based on individual liberty and humanity, those two things. So preserving humanity, especially in the face of the fourth industrial revolution, and ensuring every single individual has maximum freedom without the breakdown of civility. So there's a tipping point. Someone was asking about how can you have laws? How can you declare freedom if you're also going to have laws? Well, there's a balance you have to achieve. And you need to have maximum freedom for the individual without the breakdown of civility taking place where people are just murdering, pillaging, and raping each other, because it will devolve to that. Why? Because human beings are subject to two choices in life every waking moment, and that's to choose good or evil. And because some people do choose evil, like there was a serial killer that chopped a woman to pieces just down the road from us.
Yeah,
Frightening.
exactly.
Wow, I haven't let my kids out since I read that article alone, that is. But exactly, there's a serial killer that chops a woman into pieces using a handsaw. This is why we need law. Just read the newspaper. Human beings will never, once we evolve to the point where we don't need law, I don't believe we'll exist
In the
on
state
this earth
anymore, no,
anymore.
we'll be removed from
Yeah.
this realm we're in.
So that's why we do need law, because people are free to choose evil. If you have ultimate freedom, you have the freedom to choose to do evil. And that's why
And you can do evil.
when you do evil, then there will be consequences.
Yeah.
I have some suggestions, but I won't mention them. That will be me
That
speaking.
includes Robben Island.
Yes, it does. I've been eyeing so this is me speaking as Laura, not me speaking as leader of OWN. I've been eyeing Robben Island as a potential prison for um, people you don't want in society. So like people that have really done bad things.
And you chum the water around the Robben Island. Make
Absolutely.
sure there's lots of sharkies
Sharks are part of
swimming
the
around
plan,
there.
among other things. But you need to make sure that society is civil, meaning, I mean, one of all the reasons, I think I share this with other mothers, women, and South Africans in general. We should be able to, traverse this land without fearing for our lives. And our kids should be able to play in the streets without us worrying about them being kidnapped or killed. We just want to get along. We want the government to leave us alone. We want organizations and corporations to leave us alone. And we just want to get on with life, eke a living out for ourselves, be able to afford property, be able to send our kids to a decent education, not a state indoctrination camp. Just those basic things. I don't think it's too much to ask, but that's what we're trying to do. And the method we're using is the current political system that is so flawed. So, in order to get international recognition for the process of building this new nation as being legitimate in the eyes of what could become our enemies, we're doing it through the electoral system. So, what we need first, the first thing we need is a foot in the door. We need at least one seat in parliament, because then we can bring this new bill forward before parliament, and it's going to require constitutional change, which I've spoken about in depth before. How many minutes have I got left?
Yeah, Felix has also got an important question there.
Yeah, but then so that's the first step, is just to get a foot in the door in parliament. So this will mean next elections we need minimum 30,000 votes. We're aiming for a lot more, and that's you spoke about a lot of problems earlier. I spoke about a lot of problems earlier. Whatever problems there are, for me, the answer is grow own, because there's a certain order that one has to follow, and you can replace own with any other organization you believe in. You grow to a point where you have enough people to organize. Once you've put the organization into practice, implemented the organization, only then do you have the ability to mobilize. So you need the numbers, then you need the organization, then you have the freedom to mobilize. So frustratingly, you'll talk to people about all kinds of issues and they'll be like, we must do something now. You can't do something now. It's
Well, you
impossible.
can tell them go and do something.
You're going to be wasting your time and
Absolutely.
energy. You have to make sure you have enough
No,
numbers.
let them go and do something now. A lot of them do, and they fade away, and you never see them again.
You need enough numbers and the right organizational structure set up with the correct principles and values in order to be able to mobilize effectively. That's what we're planning for. So we're still very much in the growing and organizing phase. So whatever problem you're concerned about, grow own, or if you don't believe own's the way, then find something or start something and grow that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You should not interfere. People should have the right to murder and then face the consequences. In this new world order being created, that won't be possible because you'll be monitored, tracked, and traced. You'll live in a smart city system where murder is not possible. Everything will be controlled. You will have very little freedom. And Klaus Schwab is serious when he says that you will own nothing and you will be happy. Families like we have won't exist, they'll cease to exist. Sex will cease to exist, male and female. Age will cease to exist. A lot of people think I'm crazy when I say that. You will become ageless. In other words, it doesn't matter what age you can be a sexual being for anything to and for any means.
That's crazy.
So pedophilia ceases to exist. At the moment, they're calling them what are they calling now?
Minor attracted
Minor, yeah,
persons.
minor attracted persons. So all of these things are already happening. I spoke about this during my tour when we toured around the country as a family. We spoke about this at length. I don't think it's easy for it to distill on people's minds and see how it's actually being implemented at
Mm.
a rapid pace.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when you do small little things at a time, and we spoke about boiling the frog,
Mm-hmm. We've been boiled
remember?
forever.
Yes, that was last week, boiling the frog, doing small little things. In 3 years, there's been massive changes, and everyone thinks that it's always been that way. No, it hasn't. It actually hasn't.
There's some questions. We're gonna hit an hour very
Yeah,
soon. Important questions. Where was it? Oh, in the new system, will public officials and employees be screened and tested? Absolutely. I believe
yeah,
that's an
that'll be
absolute
a
must.
huge change. The size of government will change greatly
It
too,
needs to
because the
diminish. So this
structure
is the
will
thing.
change.
As government gets out of people's way, society improves. As society improves, the need of government gets smaller, and so on and so on.
It's interesting how many other political parties and organizations are now heading in this direction or pushing for similar things in their own way.
Not actually. If you
Well,
really look
well,
at it,
they are trying to hijack the thoughts and ideas,
but it's
but
not.
they'll never do it
There's
exactly
no
the
substance
same.
there. Chris is
No.
saying is doing evil equals sin. What is sin? No, doing evil, I wouldn't call it sin. What is sin? It's a construct. Evil specifically is anything that's against humanity.
Mhm.
What is humanity? It's the fact that we're alive, organic human beings
We have
that
intelligence.
that express certain things like compassion and all that good stuff. So anything that goes against the existence of humanity would be evil then. So murder is evil because you're
Yeah.
killing life. I think the six principles of Ohm very much encapsulate what humanity is. It's progress, it's being independent and free, it is caring for earth and caring for life.
Yeah,
All
the
of
concept
that.
of sin, hell, many other things are religious constructs.
It's anything that's anti-humanity, anything anti-preserving humanity. Burning books and destroying knowledge and withholding information from people would be evil in my definition
Yeah.
of evil when it comes to opposing humanity.
Well, whether right or wrong, by the way, I'm not saying that is right or wrong. That's not what we're debating, but it's a religious construct. So that construct comes from religion. Um, there's so many other things that people have come up with that we measure ourselves by. It's just how humans are. However, humans on their own are different to animals. These distinct differences between us and animals. Any other animals out there, there's things that we have that they do not, and that makes us different. And these global elitists are trying to make us feel as if we're the same as animals, that we aren't male or female, that is also a construct. When the concept of hell, the concept of hell comes from Zoroastrianism.
As we discovered
Yes,
last Thursday.
yeah. Sin. I'm not so sure if Zoroastrianism covered sin specifically. Something I suppose similar to that. But these global elites are trying to tell us that the mere fact that we exist is bad, is evil, because we are destroying
Well,
the
that is,
planet.
by my definition, evil doctrine.
Yeah, exactly. Just skip that thing
Skip
fast,
ads.
please. Yeah,
Bye.
because it's an hour every 30 minutes. I've learned now directly after the video to go and disable all the mid-rolls that they've enabled in the video.
So what is a
So there's
person's
none.
motivation to live then, with regards to what? I'm a bit lost.
It's incredible what we can live for. I believe there's life after death. I believe our intelligence lives on. I believe that we need to do a lot on Earth. I believe, this is what I believe. I believe that there is a high intelligence that created this universe that is benevolent, that understands us, is knowing of us. I can go into a lot more detail, but I mean, that's not the purpose of this live stream. And that our purpose here is to grow and learn. We need to learn things, experience things, to become better. And I think it's awesome. So we need to make use of that in this world.
I missed the question. I can find it.
You know, people that are atheists, I think it becomes difficult for them to find a reason um, to do certain things a certain way on Earth. Because by that reason, I suppose some of them say you can just do what you want.
Someone's asking, should people not earn their citizenship?
You actually said something profound once, that we should all go to prison and then earn our way out as
I
citizens.
said that as not like Ohm's plan.
No, of course
That's
not.
what
No,
I'm saying.
that was just, but there was a interesting concept of earning your citizenship. By definition, you're a citizen when you are born in a country. That is what
By
makes you,
definition. So maybe there should be.
and you are registered that you were born.
Yes.
Okay, otherwise you're not a citizen.
No.
You have no protection rights or anything like that.
So who asked that? Charles. Was it Charles? I can't see. Where is it? Yeah. Was it Charles? Whoever
So,
asked that, I understand where you're coming from. Yes, it was Charles van Amsterdam. But yeah,
well,
that's
to
murky
me,
waters.
there's certain things that can be earned. I mean, to have a job is not a right. So you should be able to earn your way to being worthy of having a job. All my qualifications, I did not get at tertiary institutions at all. I could get them at the institution where I worked. And I believe that that should become the mainstay. That is the best way. There is no learning institution, Stellenbosch, UCT, wherever you want to study in the country, Wits, Tikkies, um, that can do what an institution can do to create workers that they actually need.
Exactly, Jacques. That's why it's just a nice fleeting idea. Implemented as another form of tyranny. Nice on paper, not in practice.
Yeah, definitely not. It's the same as saying that people that pays that only people that pay a certain amount of tax should vote. I mean,
Yeah,
that you can't do
you
that.
can't do that.
Any
It's
person,
just funny to think about.
any person should also have a right to become a public servant. You shouldn't have a matric or anything like that to become a public servant. To become an MP or the president of the country or anything like that. It's different to being an employee
Minister,
in government.
minister and government official and department head
It's very
or
different.
city manager. Yes, a lot of people, actually, many people, actually most people.
Yeah,
So
they
if
confuse
you're on this
this.
live stream, the first thing that you can do to help South Africa is understand how government works and then teach that to
Mm,
people. Because most people don't understand the difference between government and politics. Huge difference. There's a
massive, yeah.
separation of the two, which is why we can theoretically be called a democracy, even though it's not proper. So it's important to know if you can be voted by someone, qualifications shouldn't matter, but once you're elected, training can
Yes.
then take place.
That doesn't
Extensive
exist at the
training.
moment. There's no training.
But if you work for government at any level, no matter whether you're a sweeper, an admin person, a clerk, or a department head or a minister, then you do need the psychometrics and you need the qualifications and you need the testing and everything else.
Yeah, but things will work different in the new system.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's not like the president handpicks a whole cabinet full of people the way it happens now. from their own party. Now, that is something I would think about changing. To me, you lose the right, in my mind.
They should be like a murderer or rapist.
Yeah,
You took
no,
away
you
other
have
people's
no,
rights.
you should have no right to
Yeah.
vote.
Strange. Okay, so we've reached an hour.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be talking about. Thanks, Marlene, for that re-emphasis. Almost not a pulpit party, but a
No.
person-to-person system working for real system change on the ground.
Yeah, and the thing is that absolutely no degrees can't help you in real life. You know, I'm so lucky that everything that I do have, I could achieve within my workplace, and it was difficult. It wasn't easy. I mean, my license I got from the National Nuclear Regulator. Um, my SAQA certificate, which is just an equivalency um, that I got from the government, but still, it was Eskom that had to go through the process to do all um, the recognition for prior learning and all that type of thing. And you know, the certificates that I got for achievements and so on is things that I worked for in my work. It's not something that I got at some institution. So to me, that is the best way we can learn. And Eskom has been one of the greatest learning institutions in the country, sending people into the country with incredible learning experience. And it was always seen as something like that. I don't know if that is still the case. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least Unit 1 is running. It's almost at
You're
30%
gonna bore
power.
me with
I'm
Eskom
not going
talk
to bore.
again. Someone said they experienced load shedding earlier, so they're gonna watch
Yeah,
at 10 o'clock.
people is not going to stop. It cannot stop, and now they want to. I'm not going to bore.
No, I'm sure they're
I
improving
will do an
outcomes.
entire Zoom session for everyone that wants to understand how a power station works.
Nothing beats hands-on training, guys. If you
Yeah.
want entertainment, then go to. I'll just find it now quickly. It is so cool. I won't share it. Maybe I will share it. I will share it.
You can put that on Telegram.
I'll put it on Telegram.
Yeah.
The dude that plays his metal guitar to Karen screaming and other random things.
Oh, yes.
What's his name?
But thanks for
Andre.
joining us. It was really wonderful. We had over 250 people watching in the end, depending on how many people came in and out. Last week, we had over 900 people during that hour that watched. We'll see just now when we close the stream how many people actually watched. But please, if more of you can like this video, we have 177 likes. If we can get it over 200, it'll be awesome. It'll certainly help us. And yes, Thursday evening,
We're going to be speaking about the Epic of Gilgamesh.
the Epic of Gilgamesh. You almost sound like you're not interested in it.
No, I am looking at it. It's
Don't
called
get distracted, Lauren. You can find it later.
Andre Antunes. Andre Antunes.
Why is that important?
It's cold. If you need to just laugh
To
a
you.
little.
It's cold to you. If you want to go and watch something that Lauren laughed at last night hysterically,
So
there you
1
go.
a.m. while Des was sleeping, it was very funny. Shane, you fell asleep.
Oh, you carry it on.
I did.
Oh, this is news.
I
always learn something new.
Yes. Oh, we'll get to the Greek Odyssey. Absolutely. The Roman and Greek myths will absolutely get there.
We're going to get to everything. Lauren's half Greek, okay? So you're going to get all the
You're going to
Greek
get
stuff.
indoctrinated by me.
No, there's no indoctrination here, people. We're just going to discuss things. I think it's super important that we do that as whatever belief system or faith or whatever we come from.
Thanks, Dr. Zane, for that positivity.
I don't want people to be locked in by religion. I've seen so many people that are controlled by some pastor.
Yeah.
In my life, because I grew up in the Christian belief system, and my beliefs have changed a lot over time. How I see things, like drastically, throughout my life, as I've discovered new things, and hopefully other people will do the same. Discover new things.
Mitchell, you just joined. We're just ending. To everybody, go and join the Telegram channel if you haven't yet, Des and Lauren, so that I can share that very funny channel with you. It's my new favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, but thanks so much. It's really exciting that we'll have our first national election where Owen will contest.
We have so much work to do.
Yeah, a lot of work. The signatures is a big one. We haven't had a result from the Concord. It's like the Concord's gone into hiding. My word.
We can
They in
discuss that.
deep trouble.
We can
Eh?
discuss it next week.
Yeah, we can talk about
We
that
can
next
talk
week.
until
Yeah.
we get to 111 and then we can end.
Yes, you'll be very excited to end on 11:11, but 1:11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just 45 seconds to go.
Yeah, 4 more likes and then we have 200 likes. It'll be really awesome. But thanks to all of you that joined us, many people from the public that joined us. Thanks so much for sharing this time with us. We will try to not make these longer than an hour. We could have finished it half an hour actually. We had discussed everything we needed to discuss by then, and then the waffle-a-thon starts.
Speak
But
for yourself.
ooh, okay, we have 11 seconds until we get to 11:11.
Less.
Are you going to
7.
make it 5 rows of?
That'd be really, really cool. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll
Thanks so
see
much
some
for
of you on
joining.
Thursday
Yes.
and some of you next Tuesday.
Look, it was at 4 and then it's like
Yeah, it does that.
that's weird.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.